Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Hong Kong legal community calls for independent inquiry into police inaction in Yuen Long. Rape victim in India suffers car accident. Committee Against Torture review Bangladesh. Nepal faces criticism over ineffective transitional justice process. Philippine fake news bill should be withdrawn, says right group. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Amila Sampath. This week Just Asia begins with Hong Kong, where there have been new developments arising out of an attack at Yuen Long MTR station on ordinary citizens. A group of people wearing white shirts, generally believed to be thugs, had batons and knives and attacked protesters returning home on July 21st, as well as journalists and ordinary commuters. Many of the victims suffered serious injuries. The Hong Kong police did not immediately respond to the calls for help. The incident has shocked the city, and there have been repeated calls for an inquiry into the violence and police inaction. In particular, the legal profession have written a letter to Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie urging for the appointment of Commission of Inquiry into the events. The letter also noted that in the absence of independent inquiry, there would be a little alternative but to consider legal action against the Commissioner of the Police and or private prosecutions against the officer in charge for neglect of their duty. Following the attack, the protesters sought permission to hold demonstration in Yuen Long. Although permission was refused, a large crowd participated in protest in the Yuen Long area, demanding justice. 44 of these protesters now have been charged with rioting. There are demands from various sectors of society urging the government to enter into a negotiation with the protesters and bring about just settlement. While Carrie has promised open consultations on the issue, no action in that direction has yet been reported. Just Asia speak to Basil Fernando, Director for Policy and Program Development at AHRC, for his views.
In Hong Kong, large numbers of people, sometimes 2 million people, have come to the streets as protesters demanding certain things. Now, a wise course of action in such a situation is to realize that unless there are certain serious problems, this kind of huge movement cannot arise, nor can it sustain itself. What need to be done under those circumstances is to take these people seriously. This is the Hong Kong people speaking. In no society everybody speaks. Some people may be even against it, but such a large number of people coming forward, taking their time, facing inconveniences and all that is a sign certain things are not happening right and certain things need to be improved. And there is nothing wrong in admitting that, because that is the nature of human societies. There are no perfect societies. So, if that is seriously taken and a serious negotiation starts where the people can trust that in fact they can have confidence that this is a genuine discussion, then the society will begin a new stage of development, more creative, even more creative stage of development than what it had in the past. Some people say that right wing says everything we have done is lost. That is not the case. New opportunity has come for a new discourse between the people and the government in order to reach greater heights of developing responsible and action and a happy society. These people on the street are demanding a happier society. That is what they are demanding. And what is wrong with that? That is a human nature. And by negotiation, what can be done now and what can be done gradually can be agreed upon. People are reasonable people. These are, Hong Kong is a, now have developed a educated balance people. This is not just emotional nonsense. 2 million people don't come for nonsense. So, by taking a more positive approach, Hong Kong can reach new heights. All that is needed is a genuine heart and a genuine mind.
Next, in India, a teen rape survivor and her lawyer have been grievously injured in a car accident. 2 others in the car were killed, one of whom was key witnesses in the rape case. The teen rape survivor had accused Kuldeep Singh Segar, a former lawmaker of the ruling party, of rape 2 years ago. Just 2 weeks ago, the teenager had written to the Chief Justice of India about continuing threats from Segar and his supporters. This case exposed the dire state of witnesses' protection in India, as well as the rot in the criminal justice system. When the teenage victim approached the police in 2017 to complain of rape, the police allegedly refused to name Segar in the complaint. Meanwhile, Segar's relative brutally assaulted the teenager's father. The father was then arrested and he later died in police custody. The teen survivor then tried to immolate herself in front of Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister's residence, causing national outrage. As a result, the case was transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI), which charged Segar with rape and his accomplice for assault, criminal conspiracy, and other crimes. The girl was also provided with security thereafter. On the day of the accident, the girl was going to meet her uncle, lodged in Raebareli jail since July 4th. Strangely, not a single member of the security detail was traveling with them on that day. The girl's family is alleging that there is no accident but an attempt to eliminate the victims and the witnesses, and thus securing Segar's release. Moving to Bangladesh, the country is currently being reviewed by the Committee Against Torture for the first time since ratification of the Conventions Against Torture in 1988. According to Human Rights Watch, this is a good opportunity for the government to acknowledge the endemic use of torture in the country. The group's Asia Director Brett Adams said the government should adopt the committee's recommendation, enforce existing law against torture, and send a clear message to security forces that it's serious about eradicating torture. Torture is rife in Bangladesh, particularly by the police and security forces, including the Rapid Action Battalion known as the RAB. While Bangladesh enacted the Torture and Custodial Death Prevention Act in 2013, there have been no cases completed under this law. In Nepal, the government is facing severe criticism over its handling of the country's transitional justice process. Amnesty International, the International Commission of Jurists, Human Rights Watch, and Trial International have reprimanded the government for its failure to keep promises to victims of the armed conflict that had lasted over a decade from 1996 to 2006. Nepal's political parties are currently arguing over the appointment of the commissions to the transitional justice bodies as well as the day-to-day operations. This is raising concern among the national and international stakeholders. Conflict-era victims, meanwhile, are demanding the ongoing appointment process to be suspended and a more transparent and consultative process to be initiated. It is high time for the Nepal government to adhere the Supreme Court decisions of 2015 and promulgate the required law regarding the transitional justice process. The law must particularly ensure that the victims are properly consulted. Lastly, the Philippines' proposed law on false content threatens to stifle free discussion, Human Rights Watch has said. Introduced in the Senate at the beginning of July, the anti-false content bill should be immediately withdrawn and revised to meet international standards, the right groups urge. Popularly known as Fake News Bill, the proposed law would authorize the Justice Department's Cybercrime Office to direct individuals, owners, or operators of online platforms based anywhere to correct, take down, or block access to any content deemed false or that could mislead the public. The law does not specify any standards to be used in determining what is true or false or misleading. The law also has no provisions for judicial review of any blocking orders. The law would also make it criminal offense to post any content knowing or having a reasonable belief that it contained information that is false or that would tend to mislead the public. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.ahlrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.